And we're live once again. And it seems like we've got no problems. Knock wood. Hope everybody had a good week so far. Let's start with the hellos. See who got the cookie. Looks like Gerald Stewart got the cookie. Alright, Gerald. Good to see you here, man. And the Gigliottis, Ray, you got the half cookie. Good deal. And Hot Dog Pile Andy, unfortunately you got the crumbs. But it's good to see you here anyway, Andy. And we have Dundas Junction Model Railroad. James, how's it going? Good to see you here. Tom Grassy, good to see you, Tom. Let's see who else we got here. Chuck Schreiber. Hey, Chuck, good to see you. Anfield Road Layout in the Loft. Lee, how's it going? Let's see who else we got here. Ray Bertelson. Hey, Ray, I never did call you back. Sorry. Every time I went to call you, something came up and I got busy and then forgot. It happens. Anyway, good to see you here, Ray. Stormy Sky Rail Productions. We have Steve. Steve, good to see you here. And let's see what else we got. Joe Rader, Black Rock Central. Hey, Joe, good to see you. And we're still scrolling. Derek Alexander. Hey, Derek. Good to see you here, man. And we're still scrolling. Grandpa Rails. Hey, JD. Good to see you. And that's everybody so far. And that's a good thing, I suppose. I got this light here that I got from Tom Kavitchak. It's really bright. I should probably maybe tone it down a little bit. It does light me up a little bit. I've got one and I've got the other one, but I'm not finished mounting the other one yet. I made this wall sconce for it. This will go against the wall right here. And the light will sit on top of this. So it was a quick 3D print. I already did one, but it was too short. So I went as long as I can go on my printer, and I think this will do it. It'll bring it out past the monitor, which is kind of important. So, well, that's really neither here nor there. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. We got some train stuff going on. I've been very busy. I guess I can go ahead and show it off now. Let me see where that is here. All right. This here is number 148. This is the real steam engine on the U.S. Sugar Line. And this is what I'm trying to duplicate with the Mahano that I bought. So I'm getting closer. And here's a picture of it so far. I repainted the body gloss black as it should be. I 3D printed the bell on the top and painted it gold. And I've still got a whole lot of stuff to do. Of course, the sand towers, I guess that's what, I think Joe Rader told me that's what they're called. I call them steam humps either way. On the back there, I had to put those in because that particular engine didn't have them. So we're getting there. Now, the only other problem I have with this engine is the chassis on it. The gear sets really kind of wore out, you know, for the drive motor. And it doesn't get good contact all the time, so it tends to skip. So to beat that problem, I went ahead and I bought another one. And it should be here, I think, in about a week. I won it on eBay. It was another bid. I got it for $22.50. It looks nice, although I can't use the body. Well, I'll use the body for something else, but the guy that sold it to me said it runs good. So if the gear sets are fine on it, I'll just put this body on that chassis and we'll be good to go. Otherwise, because trying to find parts for Mahano not easy. And I haven't found a source yet that has a new pinion in, I guess you'd call it an idle gear. Can't find them anywhere. I could probably make them and print them, but that would be a real pain in the ass. So it would be so much easier just to get one that runs. Now the second one that I bought, well, there was two that I bought initially. The one you just saw, and this was the second one. I got the body off of it. This is the body. I already, butchered it because I was using it as a practice body. So it'll probably go in the trash when I'm done. But this chassis here has a similar problem with this gear over here, the pinion gear, and what I would call an idler gear underneath of it. Now this one here, right now it's not skipping, but if I actually put power to it and put any pressure on the chassis, it does tend to skip. So once again, the only way to fix this is either new gears or find one that works good to begin with. So I took a chance on the one that I just bought, and hopefully it'll be good. Plus it'll give me a spare body I could put on this chassis and just have a static model, like maybe I could put it inside the locomotive repair shop. Lots of things I could do with it. But I don't believe that this will pull any cars behind it because we're just not getting good contact on those gear sets. On its own, it sort of runs, but, I'm going to be pulling probably 7 or 8 cars, maybe more. And I still got to lay out the sugar line. I've got it on this side already. I've got to get it on that side and on the back wall. I haven't even looked at that yet, so it's not going to be too much of a problem. I will have to build some bridges. I'm sure I'll 3D print something. And because I've got 2 areas that I've got to have bridges on. Actually 3 areas. So we'll get that sorted out and squared away. Now Tom Grassi, he was up at I don't know if it was Timonium or the other one in Massachusetts. He was just up there this past week, and he picked me up a Motorman. So again, he's got to ship it to me yet. I still got to pay him for it, but he got a good deal on it, and the fact that he got one was amazing. He also got a lot of information that goes with it. So I'll have to get a second one for the sugar line if I want to automate that, which is not a big deal. But the first one will go for the Amtrak above ground or elevated rail line. So the one I've got now, that's what's going to power that, and then the second one later on to power the sugar line. And they'll basically just go back and forth, so I won't have to fool with it. So anyway, that was good. I thank Tom for that one, for getting that for me. And if I'd had the extra money, I would have had him get me 2, but I couldn't really afford to at this time. They're $130 each, so, they're not cheap. Amherst, that's what it was. I can never remember. Thanks for clarifying that, Andy. And thanks a lot, JD. Yeah, it's coming along. Yeah, it's still got a lot of work to do on the locomotive. Got a lot of painting to do. I've got the boiler covers. I have 2 of them here. I think I'm going to use this one. This is a brass one. I don't know how one loco had a brass one on it and the other one was plastic. And the plastic would be good, but there's a hole drilled in it for the headlight, which the headlight on this one will be mounted high, not in the boiler cover. So this one here is better suited for it. And I just got to put the little round plate on there. It says 148 on it like the real one. And I've got to paint the front section of the locomotive silver. The actual tank. I'll probably have to hand paint that. I'm not sure yet, because it looks like it'd be a real pain in the ass to try and mask it off. I don't know yet. I'll figure it out though. And I've got a lot of white details to go. Like I said, depending upon which chassis I use, I've got to paint the white rings around the drive wheels, the pilot wheels, and the trailer wheels. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. And of course I still have the tender now. The tender's painted. It's also gloss black. And like I said, I cut the coal load off of it and put a flat styrene sheet on the top because the one that's in operation uses oil, so it no longer uses coal or wood. So they seal the top on there, and I guess it holds oil. And I've still got to mount the light on the very back of it, but I'm getting there. So like I said, I'm spending a little more money on this than I really wanted to, but you know, it's going to be worth it when it's done. It should be not 100%, but about 90-95% replica of number 148. It's a 462 configuration, just like 148 is. And like I said, they actually had one. It was brass, not even DCC, and they wanted $900 for it. And I'm going, fuck that. I can't afford that kind of money. What's that, Derek? It says, you don't strike me as someone who builds bridges. If you're like me, you burn bridges. Well, I've kind of done both. I built some and I probably burnt more. It happens, you know. But hey, it is what it is. No problem, Jim. Ray says, no problem, Jim. I forgot what I called it. Had something to do with the steam engine, based on your voicemail. But beyond that, I have no idea. Thanks, Stormy. It's Steve, right? Yeah, it's coming along. Getting there anyway. I'm really kind of going all out on this one. Try, you know, I'm starting to go more for detail-oriented stuff going on the layout. So I'm going to be doing a lot of work on the layout in the coming year. A lot of it's, well, some will be expansion, some will be, you know, redoing a lot of the stuff I have on here, getting more details going. Just something I need to do, and I seem to be re-energized to do it. Because for a while there, I was kind of, I don't know if I was burnt out or preoccupied or what the hell was going on, but I don't know, I would come in there, I'd look around and go, I don't feel like doing anything today, you know. Where now, why did I keep coming up? Now that I've got, it's like, okay, I'm doing better. And Chuck says, this time last week you thought you were all by yourself. That was weird. And to this, I still don't know what the hell happened. I said it could have been OBS, it could have been my overlay program. I don't know what the hell it is. It seems like everybody seems to have things like this happen. Whether it's cameras. I've still got a camera out. I'm going to have to redo the whole camera situation. I don't know what I'm going to do just yet. I may even duplicate what Tom Grasty's doing. He's using... I was the one who told him about the IP camera software program. Because I was running it for a while way back when. I may get it and see if maybe I can utilize it because I do have 2 monitors. And if necessary, I can throw a 3rd monitor up just for that. So, cause my video card will handle up to 4 monitors. So we'll see. Or like I said, I might just go into a PoE camera or even HDMI cameras. I don't know. You know. I also have a base. Well, I showed you last week. I've got the base to have an overhead camera set up, and I use a camcorder for that one. I still haven't gotten around to putting it up yet. I've been so busy with other things, you know. But I'll get to that at some point. And of course, at some point, well, probably after I get back from the Villages, which is on February 7th, I'll be going up with Tom and Debbie. Me and my Debbie will be going up with him and his Debbie. And when I get through blowing my my extra money that over there up with them if I do. I'm going up with $300. I don't know what I'm going to buy if I buy anything. Depends what they have. Said I'm really going to be looking for rolling stock. Unless they got some good deals on maybe some locomotives. You know, 'cause I'm not going to buy DCC locos anymore. I'll get DC and convert them. It's so easy to do it. You know, like I said, I've got to convert this Mahano steam engine to DCC and sound. It's a piece of cake, you know. And I've been watching a lot of videos of other guys that gotta give some instruction on converting over old Atherns to DCC and sound. So I'm thinking it's not that hard. And Derek, just kidding. All right. All right, Lee, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. You have a good night. So, that's my plan anyway. Like I said, if they have some rolling stock, I like boxcars. But I like different boxcars, you know, stuff with cool logos and stuff on them. Like, I found one. I don't have it up here to put on, but when I was a kid up north, I used to go to my grandfather's every now and then. He was a deep sea fisherman. So he was gone like 3 months, every 3 months out of the year, every 3 months. And he'd only be back for a couple of weeks, and he'd back out again. But when he was around, I'd go over to see him because he lived right around the corner from where we lived up in New Jersey. And of course, you know, the first thing he'd do is, "Come on, boy, have a beer with me." I was like 7 years old. You know, I mean, it was not a big deal. My parents knew about it. They didn't have a problem with it. But he'd open up a can of beer and give me half of it, and he'd drink half of it, and we were good to go, you know. Well, the beer's name was Ballantine beer. Now, Tom Grassi, you might be familiar with it because you live in Jersey. If you're outside of Jersey, you might not have ever heard of it, but it was one, and still is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best beers I ever drank. You know, and I can still get it. I'd have to have it shipped down here from New Jersey. And I'm thinking I might just buy a case of it just for shits and giggles, you know. I don't really drink anymore, but hey, you know, it'd be nice to have a beer every now and then. Well, anyway, it was cool because the logo was 3 rings. Almost like the Olympics, but only 3 instead of 5. And I saw a boxcar. It was O scale. They didn't have it in HO, but it was an O scale. Had the Ballantine logo on it. Ballantine Beer Incorporated, where it's from, New Jersey and shit. I says, I'm going to reproduce that. So I did a screen grab and got pictures of them. And when I get a chance, I'm going to go ahead and reproduce it, but in HO scale. So those are the kind of things I look for, you know. Like they've got boxcars with Eggos on them. Aunt Jemima syrup. All these odd ones that they don't really make anymore, you know. Everything now is kind of basic stuff. I don't want basic stuff. I got tons of basic stuff. So if I can get boxcars like that for $5 or less, and they're going to have horn hook couplers on them, obviously. I don't care. I'll swap them out, put metal wheels under them, even do trucks if I need to, because I can print up trucks. So that's my plan, to do that when I get up there. But like I said, if they have any good deals, I'm like, I need some switchers. I'm looking for at least 1 or 2 SW1500s. I like those. They're easy to convert to DCC, so I might get a couple of them for the second level if I could find them in DC at a reasonable price, you know. And like I said, Athern's probably best because they're one of the easiest ones to swap out. So we'll see how it goes. So I won't know till I get up there. Alright, let's see, what are we missing here? Steve says, have to get going. Jenny just got home and have things to get done by evening yet. Yeah. Well, have a good one, Steve. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it, man. Have a good weekend. Yeah, really, stay warm. Hey, Rick Strange, how you doing? Good to see you here. Yeah, I know. Aunt Jemima's now pearl mining. What a bunch of shit, isn't it? And they said they're calling me a racist because, you know, I used to eat Aunt Jemima's syrups and pancakes. What the hell is racist about that, huh? I don't get it. Pearl mining. What the fuck, you know? Well, it is what it is, you know. And you think Aunt Jemima, well, she's not alive now, probably. I'm sure she's dead. But maybe any of her aunt or siblings or whatever. Progeny, whatever the word is. You think they'd be a little pissed off. I mean, that woman was famous. You know, how many black people get to have their likeness put on a bottle that everybody buys? And there was a time when, you know, Aunt Jemima was pretty much, if not the only one of the only ones of syrup that you could get. What the hell? So, if anything's racist, it was taking her picture off of there and her name. Well, it's just like Uncle Ben, you know. When I was a kid, we ate Uncle Ben's rice all the time. You know. I mean, the dude was famous. What the hell? That's not racist or degrading to him. It's like, dude, you're on a fucking rice box. You know. I mean, I'd give money for have my picture put on a rice box. I wouldn't consider that degrading. And say, look, there I am, right on the box. You know. That's some fucked up shit, man. Rick says, I like Mrs. Butterworth. Well, that's good, too. Like I said, you got Mrs. Butterworth, Aunt Jemima. Well, Pearl Mining now. And I think there's one other one that's big, but I can't remember the name of it. You know. I mean, I don't care. I'll eat any one of them, you know, if push comes to shove, but I just don't understand the, you know. And who was Mrs. Butterworth? She had to be some fat cow. If she had a picture, they'd put on the thing, right? Hey, what the hell do I know? So anyway, that's what I'm looking for. Cars of that sort. With unusual logos or road names. So if I see something like that, I will pick them up. Like I said, I've only got $300 to go up with, but it's actually quite a bit of money considering, but it depends upon what I buy, you know. Now, I don't do wood kits, so I don't have to worry about blowing money on those. They're kind of pricey, even though they're cool. But the problem with the wood kits is they're not my era. If your train errors or layout errors like in the 50s or 40s, those things are great, or even before that, but you got modern era stuff, that's not really going to get it. So, like I said, I can still think that I'm just as happy printing my own buildings. Never trust a thin cook. Yeah, that's a good point. Because she's probably not eating her own food or his own food. Although, I'm not into all that fancy shit anyway, you know. My wife watches all that cooking shows and this and that. And like I said, there's big fat people that are, you know, cooking all kinds of weird shit. And it looks to me like all they're doing is like, how many ingredients can we put into the same pot and still make it edible? I don't get into that. I'm pretty basic, you know. Steak and potato guy, a little bit of pasta here and there. Maybe a good pizza once in a while, lasagna. You know. I can't see putting 32 different ingredients in the same pot, man. It's like, no. That shouldn't be in there with that shit, you know. But that's me. Like I said, I don't have one of those sophisticated palates, right? I think that's what they call them. Anyway. But so that's my plan for the villages when we get up there. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be the only day that won't be terribly cold. It's cold right up until then, and then cold afterwards. But Saturday, the only bad part is that there might see some rain. Rain I could deal with. So, Rick says, what did he say here? Let me put that up on the board. Working on a beach scene on the layout. Ah, cool. Hope you do a video on that so we can all see it. That'll be neat to see. I don't have a beach here either. I got the nude lake, but I don't have an actual beach, and I don't have a place to put one. So I've got another lake down there on the left side of the layout, which I've got some campers on the island part of it. Well, it's not really an island, more of a peninsula. And some people fishing and boating, and you know, I still got to put the water in yet. I've got it painted, but I don't have the water down. I've got all the stuff to do the fake water. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet, so I'll get to it at some point. Like I said, there's so much to be done here. And last year I just didn't have my head in it, I guess. So, I don't know. I know what I'm missing here. Where did it go? There it is. Yeah, Derek says that's quite a contrast to the weather we're having at the moment. Yes, it is. Rick says, yeah, it means warm weather. Well, you can fantasize, I guess, but not looking good for the rest of the... Well, you know, February is traditionally the coldest month of the year. At least from what I've seen anyway. There was one I was listening to a meteorologist this morning on YouTube, and he said, this is the coldest it's been in like 50 years. And I'm thinking, bullshit. It's been a while, but I remember cold winters, even down here in Florida. We saw flurries in Naples once. Actually, on 2 occasions. Hey, Raymond, how you doing? Good to see you. Just got here, of course. So... No, Rick said it. I almost missed that one. Yeah, I want it to be a nude beach, girls with big hooters. There you go. As I said, I got my nude lake over there with naked women. Some of them have big ones and some of them don't. I'd like to get some more when I get a chance. They're hard to find, though, you know. I wish I had a file to print them. But it's not easy to find files like that, so... every layout should have a nude lake or a nude beach on it, or what the hell, you know. As long as the wife doesn't have a problem with it, you should be okay. If she does have a problem, you in deep shit. Derek says it's the coldest because they use the feels like temperatures down. Well, but that's just it, though. The feel like temperatures are the actual temperature. At least on my thermometer, they are. You know. Now, there have been a few times that it was down in the 30s. Well, it was actually down in like 38, but felt like 32. I come out here to my outside thermometer on the shed, and it shows 32. So don't give me this feel like shit. If it feels like 32, it probably is. So as I said, they're actually finally telling the truth to a certain degree now. Because they used to lie about it down here all the time. They would never tell you actually. Same when it was hot. We had 113 degrees in the shade in Naples about 15 years ago, thereabouts, for a few days. You turn on the TV news. Well, it's 99 today. Yeah, where? In your refrigerator? You know? It was 113 degrees in the shade. Can you imagine what it was like out in the sunlight? Probably about 120. Well, they know if they say that, all the tourists will go, fuck this, it's too hot, we're going back up north, you know. So it's all bullshit, you know. It's like the rest of the fake news. You don't know what the hell they're talking about half the time. Feels like your ears are dropping off. Yeah, right. So, yeah, it's, don't believe anything you see or hear on TV or YouTube. Just go out and get your own thermometer. Hell, they're cheap enough. And Like I have one in here. I have the old style ones. With actual mercury in it. And the one outside, I don't think it has mercury in it, but it's that type. I don't have digital ones. I'm not a big digital fan when it comes to thermometers. So, spontaneous combustion weather. There you go. I know. It was damn hot. I was working in a friend's garage. He had this massive garage. He fit like 6 cars in it. And he had a couple of classic cars that I was working on. I was rewiring one of them. He had no air conditioning in there. He had a big fan, which helped, but it was bad. Thank God he had a refrigerator with a pony keg in it so you could, pour yourself a beer every now and then. But you don't want to drink too much because that actually makes it worse. But it felt good going down. So. And Gore keeps saying we're having rain bombs. Oh, fucking Al Gore's an asshole. I saw on YouTube, I don't remember, it was an article. It wasn't on YouTube, it was on one of my news feeds. It was MS Now. It's not MSNBC anymore. Now it's MS Now, because they got busted for fake reporting. But it was an article where they said a bunch of scientists are dumbfounded because it shouldn't be cold right now. We're supposed to be in a heating phase, global warming. And they don't understand why it's so damn cold. Because, you idiot, it's called the weather for a reason. It'll be hot, it'll be cold, it'll be whatever. Depending on what the hell it wants to be. And you ain't got no control over it. And, they can forget about the ice caps melting. If it's down in the teens in North Florida, in some cases it's single digits, at least at night, I'm pretty sure the ice caps ain't melting. So, it's all bullshit. And Grandpa, that's a good point, JD. I don't know. What's the difference between partly cloudy and partly sunny? That's the half full or half empty glass question, isn't it? Does that make you an optimist, I think? That's right, you're an optimist if it's half full, but you're a pessimist if it's half empty. People need to get lives, man. Stop fucking talking about stupid shit like that. Let's see. James says, Andy, we say minus 15 Celsius. Wind chill could be minus 35 Celsius tonight. Damn cold. Yeah, absolutely. James says, Andy, going to blow your way. Get ready. Yeah, it might. Seems to be heading over that way. Well, I mean, whatever it doesn't matter. Whatever happens, happens. And of course, a lot of these guys, we've never seen 4 foot of snow before. What, are you fucking born yesterday? That's kind of really not big of a deal, you know what I'm saying? Ray Central, Raymond says specifically the glass is 50%. That's true. And Derek says they're saying that we will be at 8 degrees Fahrenheit tonight, but the wind chill will make it feel like minus 15. Well, yeah, if the wind's blowing hard enough, I mean, that's what gets you is the damn wind, Of course, I guess the lesson there is don't go outside and, half naked. You may not get back in. Let's see, Andy, in your shed, my train room is warm. Oh, my shed's warm too, but I got the heat on. I had some issues. I left it on, not last night, but the night before, all night, which I don't normally do, but I had both printers running. And I painted the body of this locomotive, and of course, paint does weird things when it gets real cold if it isn't dried already. So I had it set at 75 degrees in here. I mean, it's not too hot, but you know it won't and there won't be any freeze damage. Well, I don't know when, but the unit fucked up because when I came here in the morning, it was about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. It threw an F1 code saying the heat sensor malfunctioned. So I had to shut it down, kill the power for 10 minutes, fire it back up, and it was fine. I don't know what happened or why, but maybe it was too damn cold for it. I don't know. But unfortunately, it didn't get real cold in here, so I suspect it ran most of the night. Derek says, at least it will be hard, frozen hard. Yeah, right? So, yeah, like I said, it is what it is. So it could be where they're talking that there might be flurries along the west coast of Florida and the east coast, but not in the center. I guess we're too far in, but I was really hoping we'd get some snow this year, you know, like at least 2 or 3 inches, just for shits and giggles, you know. I mean, the best part of watching people freak out, oh my God, there's snow on the ground, we're gonna die, you know. Ray says we're supposed to get 3 to 6 inches of snow on Saturday. Well, that sucks for you, I guess. Hey, Jesse, how you doing? Good to see you here, GRE 2057. Jim, could have been me outside at negative 27 degrees, filling my wood stove to heat the house. Yeah, I hear you. I had to drag a bunch of wood in for our fireplace, and I've been running that in the evenings till I go to bed anyway, because I got heat in the bedroom, electric heat, but I don't have any electric heat or air conditioning in the main living room yet. I hope to have it by next summer, but I'll put another mini split in. But because I ripped out the central air conditioner, it was screwed, and I'm tired of screwing with it. So you know what? I'm ripping it out, and out in the curb it went. And he said the shed takes a while to warm up. I'm doing some work in there tomorrow. Well, you know, I got this heavily insulated in this shed, and I swear it doesn't do what I thought it would do. If it's 30 degrees outside, it's 25 in here. I kid you not. So that was like I said why I left the heat on the other night, because I figured it was going to get frosty in here, and I didn't want to screw up anything. So, but generally it doesn't take long to warm up, though. It takes about 15 minutes with the mini split on heat. I'll hit it up to 85 to start with, and then once it gets around 80, I'll back it down a little bit. But Derek says we're getting snow on Sunday, and the 12 inches we had hasn't gone away because it's so cold. Yeah, I'll bet. James says Harrison SMT was expanding his layout, cutting wood in the snow. Holy shit. That's a good question, Tom. I think I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I used 9 files altogether and mixed and matched them. Matter of fact, I had some issues with it. I mean, it's working. It's in the car. I'm going to go ahead and swing it around there so you can see it. It's right there on the track. Can't miss it. And I've got to I ordered a Keep Alive for it because the one I built, it just won't work. It takes too much power, and it kills it in like a split second. So I bought an actual Keep Alive, or whatever you want to call them. It'll be here tomorrow, as a matter of fact. But this is what it sounds like. It works pretty good. And like I said, it just shuts right off. So I went ahead and I ordered an actual keep alive. And it'll be here tomorrow, and that should work. All it's got to do is stay active for a second. Because, you know, I tried running around the track and it kept resetting, and it's like, nah, it's not going to work. So hopefully it'll work good when I get the key. I got plenty of room for a keep alive. So I'll pop that in there tomorrow when I get it, and I'll demonstrate it next week when the trains are running, because it'll be running around the track. Yes and no, Derek. Andy says that would drive me madder than I already am. Chicken tenders. The only way you can really control the volume on that is if you put an Arduino in with it. And I didn't really want to I didn't want to buy an Arduino Nano, because I didn't really figure it was a big deal. It's loud because I got the microphone right up to it, but it's not that loud. And it would have, I could have probably not needed the baffle for the speaker, and that would have lowered it a lot too. But we'll see. I mean, I'll run it. And like I said, if it gets aggravating, I'll change out the speakers, and I'll put a non-baffled speaker in there. It'll lower the volume by about half. But I didn't want it too, because like the one in my cow car, it's very low. You can barely hear it, and that uses the sound card, which I think is made by Soundtracks. There's no way to raise the volume on it. So, I mean, I've got it full volume now, but I don't have a baffled speaker there. So what I might do, if like I said, this turns out too loud, I'll swap out this baffled speaker with the non-baffled speaker in the cattle car, and that might solve both problems. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's the only it. Now, the sound card other sound card I bought, the bigger one, it wouldn't fit. That had a volume control on it. But this one that I'm using, I haven't used this one yet. This is the second one, the DF Player Mini. There's no volume controls on it. You can control it with Arduino or even Raspberry Pi, but not on its own. So that was kind of an issue, but like I said, remember, I'm experimenting with this stuff, so, you know, like I said, if it gets too loud, I may have an issue with it. But I could swap out speakers and go with a non-baffled speaker, and it does quiet it down quite a bit. James says, I have 4 defective decoders for my proto SW9 locomotives, having trouble getting warranty replacements from Walthers. I'm not surprised. I mean, you know, they're like scale trains. They tell you, oh, we got the bet. Yeah, bullshit, you know. They're so fucking greedy. They would rather piss off a customer than, you know, make shit right. And that's just the way it is, you know. My suggestion is don't use their decoders anymore. When you just replace your own and problem solved. Andy says not a strike but tariffs. Well, that's another issue too. You know, some of this stuff they got tariffs on. Now, are those sound decoders or just or non-sound? If they're non-sound, you get non-sound decoders for $20. You know, brand new. They're out there and they're available, and they wouldn't be that hard to put in to swap them out. If it's a sound decoder, well, now you're talking, you know, probably $100. Jesse said, I haven't bought a Walthers product in 7 years. Good for you, man. I'm not impressed with Walthers either. I mean, oh, you do have sound on? Okay, that's an issue then. I don't know what it is with Walthers. They don't really back up their stuff that well. I have one Walthers locomotive here. It's still working good. DCC with sound that still works, but like I said, if the decoders go bad in any of these things, I'll replace them with, you know, Tsunami 2s, but so far, like I said, it's working good. So we'll see, but hey, Gerald, good to see you in here again, man. You still got the cookie, though. You realize that, right? Doesn't matter what as long as you pop in and claim the cookie, it's yours, even if you can't stay. James says ESU had a bad batch during COVID. That don't surprise me any. And Walters won't make, well, how about ESU? What if you called them? What if they'd back it up? Because, if they're supplying them to Walters, they should honor the warranty either way. You'll still have to swap them out yourself. Because it really doesn't matter whether they're factory installed or not. I mean, they're not hard to put in. Hey, DB Tech, how you doing? Good to see you. They were using the bullshit excuse at the trade show saying they had to pay tariffs. Not my problem. I'm not overpaying for cranes. Hey, I agree with you 100%. Oh, yeah, I guess in Canada they probably are. That sucks, James. You just try to get them here in the States and then have somebody bring them over. They're $100 here, $99 as a rule. I think the most expensive one I seen was $112. So, but well, so this whole tariff thing is bullshit. The problem is the companies selling you products are going to use every excuse in the book they can to raise the price. Now, I get Scale Trains ads in my email every now and then. I just got one a couple of days ago. And they have heritage units. I think they're ES44s or something close to them. They claim the list price is $389 on them, but they're selling them for $364. And I'm thinking, holy Christ, there is no way in hell I'm paying that much money for a locomotive. I don't give a damn what it is, Now, of course, I did pre-order a locomotive with a true fan in there that's $412. I'll call me crazy for doing it, but I had to have one. But that'll be the first and last time I ever do that. I have to pay for that, I think, in June or July. But, I mean, for a basic locomotive, I said they're ESU Dakota, which I don't really like. I know James likes them. That's fine. Me personally, I'm not impressed with them. $369 is a lot of fucking money, I mean, they did put extra lights on. They got running board lights now and step lights and all this stuff. But come on, they're fucking LEDs. How much do they cost? 10 cents each. I mean, the ones I bought from Scale Trains were $264. Or $263 rather. I paid $263 for two of the rivet counters, and I think one was the other one. I can never remember what they are, but the non-rivet counter, and I think they were they were 196. DCC and sound included. Yeah, no big deal. Jim, $100 USD is $135 in Canada. Yeah, I know. Your money's more than ours, but that's what I'm saying. So you buy them in America. Have somebody buy them for you and you pay them cash or whatever. And there's probably some way to do it. I don't know. Jesse said they should make them in the USA again and cut out the freaking. Well, that would probably be. Well, that was the whole idea behind the tariffs. Trump wanted to bring industry back to America, but it sort of backfired on them a little bit. So they just said, "Oh, we'll just pass the tariff on to the consumer." The only problem is we're not stupid, and we're not going to pay extra, so you can get away cheaper somewhere overseas. Fuck that, And it wouldn't be that hard to make shit over here again, When World War II started and we needed to tool up for the war machines, General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, everybody was building military equipment overnight. Now, how did they retool so quick? you know. So don't give me this crap. We don't have the ability or the know-how or whatever. It's bullshit, you know. And by my reckoning, the tariff should have actually, the company selling the stuff that got tariff should have took the loss on their own, and that's just the way it goes. You know, you can only pass so much on to your customer base before your customers say, you know what, fuck you, we're not paying the money. And I'm one of those guys. I simply won't pay it, you know. I don't care. James says, Tom Graz, yeah, I know that's the main one in Canada. We're down here, we have kind of a selection. I said I prefer the soundtrack Tsunami too, but you know, and of course a lot of the train guys like BLI now, they're selling DCC ready locos, which they never did before, so you can put your own decoder in instead of their bullshit decoders. You know, because I don't like their decoders either. And Paragon 4, screw it. So, you know, and that's the way it should be anyway. It should be DCC ready, you drop in what you want. And I mean, in most cases, it's a matter of, you know, plugging the board in. Now, unfortunately, with ESU, you have to change the board, put a decoder buddy in, which sucks. But that's the way they set it up that way on purpose, because they don't want you using a non-ESU board, a decoder. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. That's another reason why I won't buy any of their stuff anymore. Fuck them, you know. The real purpose of the tariffs is to fund the lavish lifestyle billionaires. I don't know if that's true or not. It could be. Like I said, Trump had two plans in mind. He wanted to bring back a lot of industry here. And he wanted them to pay, to knock down the deficit and whatever, because before we had all these taxes, like before 1913, we didn't have property tax, we didn't have all these taxes that you're paying now. They relied on tariffs to pick up to finance the government. So the government didn't need to tax the people because they had money coming in on tariffs. Because at that time, we were still importing more than we were producing here. It's a great idea and concept, but like you said, people have a different idea of things now, you know. Jim, if we can 3D print rolling stock, they sure as hell can make. Of course they can. I'm saying they can 3D print this shit for that matter. You know, they have printers now that are good enough. I mean, you have 1,000 printers lined up like A1s. And you could print pretty nice stuff with that, you know. And as far as the painting goes, that's not really a big deal. I see the way that Scale Trains does theirs in China. And that's why I said I don't understand why. I guarantee you that most of the cost of a Scale Trains loco is profit over here. Ain't got nothing to do with tariffs. Ain't got nothing to do with what it costs to make them. They're probably making them for $10 each, you know, American. So, you know, I don't know. Ray says, the love of money is the root of all evil. That's true, it is. Rick Strange says, it's not the ability to produce the product, it's the millionaire. Well, of course, if you make more money without producing as much, that's a win for the producers, you know. See, we used to do things on volume, you know. You'd make 100,000 or 100 million products, or a product of one thing, and you sold it at a cheaper price and you made the money up in volume. They don't look at that now. They say, well, why should we make 100 million pieces of this and sell them for $10 each, and we could make 1 million of them and sell them for $100 each, you know. And that's what they're doing. You see it with cars. You know, there's no reason they're charging $70,000 for a car. I don't give a fuck what they put in that car. It ain't worth 70 grand. You know, and we didn't even ask for any of that shit anyway. I don't need lane monitoring or automatic braking or adaptive cruise control. Fuck, who's driving the car? Me or the fucking machine in the car? You know. Yeah, Woodrow Wilson was responsible for the taxes. As I said, it was an easy way to go, you know. Gerald says, my uncle ran a GM assembly line outside Syracuse, New York, that made 50 caliber machine guns for the war, World War II. That's what I'm saying. They retooled literally overnight, you know. Not a problem, because that's where the money was at the time when we needed the shit to win the war. And we made it happen. And so this is bullshit. Oh, we can't do this anymore, you know. It costs too much, or it's too hard. Bullshit. They're just looking for easy money is what it amounts to. They don't care if you got to pony up the money or not. And James says, I'm just buying less from the USA now, shipping and tariffs. Yeah, your shipping rates are outrageous, man. What the hell I was looking at? I wanted like $35 to ship a 4-ounce object product from here to Canada. I'm going, I don't fucking think so. All right, Andy, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Gerald, did he save a couple? It had probably been easy to get away with back then, but can't do that. They don't even let you bring home spoils of war anymore. I had a friend that fought in the Korean War, and he brought back his M1. Well, he took an M1 or the equivalent of one of the South Koreans or North Koreans, whatever. He captured a rifle and he brought it back when he still has it. You know, it's not fully auto or anything; it's a single shot. But the point is you were allowed to do that. And in Vietnam, a lot of guys tried to bring back, you know, ARs and stuff because that's what the enemy was using. Our fucking government wouldn't let them do it. That's bullshit, man. You put your fucking life on the line for your country and they tell you you can't bring home any fucking trophies? Fuck you. Bernard, hey Bernard, what's going on, man? Good to see you here. I wanted that airplane autopilot, so all I wanted was cruise control. Just keeping the rig steady. There you go. Well, that's true. I mean, you don't really need anything too fancy for that, but I don't know what kind of a system that is that works in an airplane. I know they have them, but I don't really know how they work. Jim, they wanted a $120 duty to return the defective decoders. Oh, that's bullshit, man. Might as well just buy new ones. Well, you know what you need to do, right? James, you need to move to the U.S. I know it's probably not a great idea, but it would work. What part of Canada do you live in? Do you live in the ones that want to defect to America? Because I think, was it two provinces in Canada want to become American? If you live there, you'll be good to go. I should be going. I don't feel safe here today. Come on, Ray. You ain't a wuss, are you? So, let's see, I am 2 hours north of Buffalo. I think you're in the wrong province then. Isn't it further western Canada that wants to defect? I don't remember. They said that 2 of the provinces want to become American. Can't blame them. James, we had a mix mostly sleet. It's pretty much gone now. That's cool. Nope. So, I'm telling you what, it's crazy, isn't it? So, yeah, it's funny. There's about a 6-second lag between the main screen and what you guys see. Because when I look over my monitor, I'm still saying something else. Alberta voted to leave. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. The other two probably, I can't remember what they were. We'll trade Minnesota for Alberta. There you go. At this point, I'd say, what? Anybody who wants Minnesota can have it. You know, I was there once. I went there for a seminar for, I can't remember the name of the company now, they made all the equipment for the golf course. And I drove up there because I don't fly, you know, and it was weird because when I got there, I got a motel. It was right across the street from the Mall of America. So I went and checked that out because, you know, that was a big thing. And DB Tech, that's funny. You guys could have New Jersey. We don't need it. That would be a good trade. All right, James, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. And include California, absolutely. We could probably toss about a dozen states and we'd be better off for it. But anyway, so I was in Minnesota, and while I was there, when I was touring the, it wasn't, I can't remember the name of the fucking company now. But anyway, I'm losing my mind. While I was in there touring the place, I noticed everybody working there were blonde-haired and blue-eyed. Mostly Swedes, I guess, lived there at the time. Now, I didn't see any illegals there. And remember, this was back in the 90s, early 90s. So I think that was before they got all fucked up. But it was weird because they were all blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and all the women almost looked identical. It was weird. I mean, they weren't bad-looking, but it was just kind of weird, though, and they weren't very bright. You know, like low IQ people. I mean, you know, if the average was 130, they were like about 115. So, I'm doing a fuel pressure test. Jim can't win on rigs. Lately, 4 down in 5 weeks. Oh, that sucks, man. So I thought that was weird, though, you know, because I've never been there before, you know. I went through Wisconsin like an idiot. I forgot to buy cheese. And I didn't go back that way because I didn't want to go through Chicago again, because I drove through Chicago, downtown Chicago, with a fucking 45 in my briefcase. If I'd have got caught, 10 years in prison is no question asked, even though I had legally allowed to have it, but not in Chicago. And I realized that while I was there. Nobody did the speed limit in Chicago. There were guys blowing by me over 100 miles an hour. I had the car down. It was a Pontiac Grand Prix, maybe? I think it was a Grand Prix. It was, you know, a newer one. Piece of shit it was, too. I was the first one to drive. I had 10 miles on it when I picked it up at the rental place. And it was junk by the time I brought it back. I mean, it was a piece of shit. It really was. I had to pedal to the floor going through Chicago doing like 105. That was all it would do. You know. And people were blowing by me like I'm standing still. I'm thinking, oh my God, man, if I get popped for speeding, I'm going to prison, you know, because of the gun. But there was no cops. I never seen a cop in the city. I don't know where the hell they were, but they weren't there. As soon as we got out of the city, the state troopers were like every couple of miles. If you went 1 mile over the speed limit, thereabouts, they'd pull you over and give you a speeding ticket. So I did the speed limit once I got out of Chicago, you know. I said, I'm not going back that way. I'm not taking my chances. So I went south, came back through Kansas and Missouri, which I'd never been to either one of those states. Even that was fun. I got a roll of film. I still haven't processed it. 35 millimeter roll of film. I took pictures of the arch in Missouri, St. Louis. I never developed the fucking film. One of these days I'll get them developed. It'll come out. It won't be right. Because last time I did that with a roll of film, I waited like 10 years and the colors were all off. But they still came out fairly good other than that, so we'll see. JD says Tom might as well be the whole left coast. Yeah, pretty much. Charles, yeah, Norwegians, that's what they were. They weren't Swedes. Norwegians. not very bright people, you know. And they had old people working in the factory, you know. There was this one woman, she had to be in her at least late 70s, early 80s. I mean, she looked like she had one foot in the grave, you know. Blonde hair, blue eyed, but, well, kind of gray hair by now. She was picking up drive shafts that were about 3 foot long for some of the equipment and putting them on a rack for get ready to be painted. And I'm thinking, those things are pretty heavy for an 80-year-old woman, you know. She's da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Kind of weird, man. Nobody else, yeah, I know, I'll have to send it off, Bernard. There's a place, I was getting it done in, I think it was Washington State. This one is not this is regular Kodak film, but I was buying film from this specific company, and they were the only ones in the country that would develop their film. Kodak couldn't do it. So I can't remember the name of it now, but the film, they gave me the film. You know, I think initially I bought 2 rolls, and they gave me 4 rolls to go with it. You know, and they were 36 exposure. And so when every time you sent in to have them developed, they'd send you 2 rolls. They never paid for the film, just paid for the development. And they say it was Hollywood quality, and it really was. Yeah, and the name's in the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember it right now. Walmart still develops film? I'm surprised. Seattle Films Work, that's it. Yeah, that was some good shit, man. I liked it, and I used it all the time. But like I said, I never paid for the film. Inside the first 2 rolls I paid for. Never paid for another roll. But I paid to have it developed, and they were the only ones that could develop it. So, you know, that was back when I had a film camera, but now I got digital, so I don't have to fuck around with film. But I still have that roll, and I took that back in, it had to be the late 80s or early 90s. Been a while. And I've been meaning to, you know, drop it off somewhere, but it slipped my mind. I'd have to carry it in my pocket or something, you know. It's always been kept in a cool damn place, so that should help it tremendously. I mean, if it, you know, if it's exposed to, you know, harsh weather, that's not good for it. Used to be a place called York. I'm not familiar with that one. You know, I do too, Raymond. There was, when I lived in Naples, there was a place in Naples that would do it 1 hour photography. And then they had as a matter of fact, they had another 1 hour in Bonita Springs. They were actually an hour. The one in Naples, they never quite got it in an hour, but you got it the same day anyway. But and there were a lot of places that developed, because back in the day, you know, that was really before the digitals came out. And I've always been an avid photographer. I had a Minolta 35mm film camera. I bought it brand new from Sears. I think I paid like $400 for the body. Then I had to pay another $200 or $300 for the lens, because they didn't sell them together. And then I got an auto winder for it. And by the time I got through, I had like $1,800 worth of camera and equipment. You know, like I said, I took photography pretty seriously back in the day. I still do, kind of. But that was a good camera, and I wound up having to pawn it off because I needed money, and I couldn't afford to get it back. Boy, did I get bent over on that one. I remember places where you get your film. Still have a Canon EOS 650 film camera. Those are nice cameras. Gerald says I used shitload of their film, 5247. Yeah, the movie film. Good stuff, man. And it really did. The pictures were amazing. And I was doing a lot of trick photography. I was doing double exposures and shit. I still have a lot of them, you know. I got rid of the prints, but I got everything on a DVD disc now. And the only problem with that is it's so old. I'm going to have to redo them and lighten them up there. Because what's what happens with DVDs or CDs? Over time, your pictures, they just get darker for some reason. Like I got 8mm movie film from my dad back when he was younger, from like the 30s and the 40s. It's all black and white, but I transferred that over to DVD too because the film was deteriorating so bad. I actually ran it through the projector once and that was it. it just flaked off. But I got, and they make software to lighten it up automatically, but it's kind of pricey. But I need to get it done because, you know, I'd like to make new DVDs, and because a lot of that stuff is, you know, irreplaceable. But yeah, my dad kind of got me. He was a big movie film buff. He gave me his 8mm wind-up camera, the Bell and Howell, like an old cast iron thing. You know, wound it up and because my mother bought him a Super 8 movie camera, which had just started coming onto the scene, so he switched over to that. Gave me his 8mm, and ultimately I wound up with the Super 8 too. But and about that time, everybody was using camcorders, so you know, film was really just going the way of the dinosaur. Digital and phone cameras made film disappear, all thanks to instant That's true, Ray, to a degree. I mean, I like it. I mean, you know, the problem with film was is you took pictures and crossed your fingers and hoped that they came out good. You know, a week later, normally it took a week to develop your film, unless you went to the quickie places. And it's like, it was a surprise when you got the film. You know, they all came out. Yeah, look, they did. Oh, that one didn't. You know. With the digital, you can fuck up all you want and just correct it on the spot, you know. So, I mean, I like the digital stuff. I think it's great. Does it have the quality that the film cameras did? I don't know. I think some do, but a lot don't. Bernard says, nice, Gerald. That 8mm, the Super 8 with sound, like $25 for 3 minutes of video. Yeah, I'll bet. We didn't have sound, did we? No, we didn't have a sound camera. DB Tech says, I digitized some 8mm Super 8 last month. Supply a lot of consumers with camera and accessories. Oh, cool. That's right, yeah, B&H camera. That's right. Yeah, I've heard of them. I bought something from them. Did I buy? I think I might have bought my Nikon from them. It was through eBay, but I think that's who they dealt with B&H. Aren't they up in New York or someplace like that? Definitely eliminated all the drama that came with film, that's for sure. Oh, absolutely. Paid $3,800 for my first good VHS with 4-head stereo. Holy shit. What the hell did I pay for my first? Well, I bought a Betamax. I paid $900 for that at Sears, and it was a top loader. You know, they didn't come out with the front loaders yet, and VHS was still iffy. The Betamax was, you know, and they had. I thought the Betamax was far superior anyway, but then they decided to go with VHS instead. So I went out and bought a VHS unit, which was like, I think I paid $350 for it, somewhere around there, and it wasn't as good as the Beta. But you know, it is what it is. Back when I was chasing the shuttle landings out at Edwards, I was shooting a Hasselblad. Really? No shit? You used one of those? Those are cool. Yeah, B&H. Yeah, I thought that, because that's where my Nikon came from. Like I said, I bought that on eBay. I gave like, you know, almost $600 for that thing. But I like the Nikons. They're a good camera. They're in that, yeah, I think they are in Manhattan. Oh. And I bought some of the stuff from them too, because I bought my wife. She's got a Nikon P900 with the autofocus, auto zoom, and all that shit. 900 times zoom. And she wanted a nice camera. I said, well, that would be easier for her to use. So I bought that for her, and I bought her lenses and, well, filters and shit like that. And I got a lot of crap for mine too. I got a massive camera bag, and I've got one zoom lens. It's like this fucking long. It's like 2 foot long. So I mean, you know, I got deals on a lot of this stuff, so I went ahead and bought them. You know. It is what it is, but I need another soda too. I had most. Yeah, well, Minolta made a great camera. I said my first one was a Minolta, and I thought it was a great camera. They said it was a film camera. Now, they did make a digital back for it. They converted to digital. It was, I think at the time, it was like $200 or $300. It was just the camera back, the door that opened up to get to the film. We changed the back, and it converted your film camera to a digital camera. Minolta was the first one to come up with it. And I almost bought one. But then, like I said, I kind of got some money issues, and I wound up pawning the damn thing off. I really got fucked. I got like $300 for it. It was $1,800 worth of shit there. My intention was to get it back, but hell is paid with good intentions, right? I hate autofocus. Yeah, I've got that feature on my Nikon, but I mostly do manual. I have all the auto shit on there, but I don't really use it for that, for lots of reasons, And my Minolta was not on autofocus. That was the next model up, and I didn't get it. That was manual focus. Everything was manual on that camera, which was fine, Just used Canon cameras. Yeah, they were good too. I had a friend who had a Canon, and I borrowed it once, and I thought it took pretty good pictures, man. It was nice. Raymond says, I'm going to invest in a really good vlog camera sometime in the future. I can't be relying on my iPhone forever. Well, the Logitech makes a great, webcam. I think. Just used to get a Canon camera for vlogging. Yeah, you can do that too. Oh, Tom says B&H Photos on 9th Avenue, just a few blocks off 34th, where he worked in New York City. I went there often. Cool. Also, I was only being sarcastic about what I said about the tariffs earlier. Fuck, The bottom line is we, the consumers, are going to get bent over every time. Doesn't matter how, why, or where, or whatever. We're going to be the ones getting bent over. That you can count on, Until we say enough's enough, And I said, that's where I'm at now. It's like, you know what? I'm not paying that much money. I don't think it's worth that much, and I'm not paying it. And I'll live without it, or I'll find another way. So, I think that's probably the attitude we're all going to have to adopt, where we're just going to say, you know what? We're not paying big money for shit. Just not doing it. Fuck you. Go out of business. We don't care. Who the hell? Well, a lot of these restaurant chains are closing down. I just read somewhere a couple of days ago that Popeyes, they're shutting down 180 locations in the South. Well, so what? I don't think I've ever eaten at one, but I don't care, If you'd rather, then they blamed it on, the high cost of wages. Well, you just have to make a little bit less money. Instead of making $1 billion a year, maybe we'll have to make, $900 million instead. Fucking deal with it. This bullshit where, well, this is what we have to make, otherwise we'll just shut the doors. Go ahead. Then you make nothing. Gee, you're probably right. Better fried chicken at home. We have one in town here. I think Debbie likes it, my Debbie, but yeah. Hey, John Nippenberg, how's it going, John? Good to see you. Chi Chi's is coming back, fried ice cream. What the fuck is fried ice cream? I don't think I'm going to eat that. Raymond says fast food, well, that's true, it isn't. better for our health anyway. I know I don't generally eat at those places, not as a rule. I would rather come home and cook up my own burger. Like mini prints did for figures and stuff, someone will start a company here in the U.S. that 3D prints logos. Of course they will. All right, Jesse, thanks a lot for popping in, man. You stay warm too, and we'll see you next week. Well, and that's exactly, Rick's Train says Popeye's chicken the worst I ever had. I was like, even KFC. I ate at KFC a couple of them. Last time I ate at their place, I got sick. Got food poisoning. And I should have known when I went there to pick up the food, the place was disgusting. I mean, if you were really paying attention, there was like old food underneath the table legs and shit. And I'm going, don't they ever wash the floors? And if the restaurant section looks that bad, you can imagine what the kitchen looks like. I said, generally, I just don't eat those things. It pisses my wife off. We never go out to eat. Well, just think I'm saving your life, by not going out and getting that shit. Can't go wrong with Cane's. What's Cane's? I don't know what that one is. We don't think we have them here. And we've got, some decent places here, and they're not cheap, and that's another problem, I could go out to eat and I could have bought a week's worth of food with what I spent at one sitting in a restaurant. Why would you do that, John says we hit a Cane's in Vegas pretty good. There must be something out west. We don't have them here. So we got some decent places, but they're pricey, and they want you to tip them too. It's like, here's a tip for you, lower your fucking prices. And I'm bad because I generally tip well if the service is good. But now, I mean, when you're going to spend 80, 90 bucks for two people to eat or more. I mean, and then you want to throw another $20 in for a tip? I don't think so. My son-in-law has sliders on the grill. Oh yeah, those are good. Like I said, we just cook our own shit, that's all. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, which are chicken strips, just to be clear. Okay. Huh. Alexandria, Virginia? Yeah, probably. I don't know, like I said, I've never heard of them, but I mean, the fast food joints are getting stupid anyway. You go to a McDonald's, two people could spend 40 bucks just to eat a meal. That's ridiculous, And the food is shit. I'd rather go to the Winn-Dixie and buy $40 worth of food and I can eat for, maybe 3 nights, maybe 4 if I stretch it. I don't know. The times are changing, everything we used to do and took for granted we're just not doing anymore, And I think part of the problem is some of these businesses and people in general just figure, well, the American people are so stupid they'll fall for anything we throw at them. They're wrong. Tom Grass says, I will never tip at a fast food place. They keep getting raises when the stupid Dems raise them. I know. Well, yeah, 25 is what I heard. And I think out west they were talking 30. Because they already got 20. And they're not worth 20. They sure is only worth 25 or 30. The hell you think you're doing there? Flipping burgers? Come on. I could probably get my dog to do it if I knew how to teach him properly. I often wonder what part of the chicken a McNugget comes from. That's just not even real chicken, I don't think. I've heard that it isn't. I don't know, I don't trust McDonald's. I don't trust Burger King. I don't trust Wendy's anymore. And I was a big Wendy's fan for many years, but they pull the same shit that the others do now. They're using, basically not real food because they can make more money. Well, and blaming it on your employees is bullshit. What did McDonald's take in last year, profit-wise, nationwide? Billions of dollars. Let's say 100 billion just for shits and giggles. And that's their profit. So you can't afford to give somebody, I mean, they shouldn't. I mean, I'm not arguing that they should, but if you got to give somebody $10 more an hour, it's not going to hurt you any. Not when you're making that kind of money, but, they get greedy. Not my problem, though. I don't care. I got an email yesterday from some Republican that's running for governor of California. Of course, he's begging money, Oh, dude, I understand what you're saying, and yeah, they need a Republican over there, but, Schwarzenegger was a Republican, and what did he get done? They fought him every step of the way, so I don't care who you put in there. They ain't going to get nothing accomplished. So why would you even bother with it? And then the big money from me, like I got, money ain't falling out of my ass last I looked. I wish it was, but it ain't. I ain't paying for shit. And I damn sure ain't throwing, money toward you. Well, yeah, Arnold was a rhino, but, well, I mean, you knew that because he married a Democrat, Ask me how I know. I know how you know. But still, he couldn't have got anything accomplished even if he was a diehard Republican. Because the governor just doesn't have that much authority. You still have the state legislature you got to deal with. If they don't agree with you, nothing gets done. That's why we're doing so well here in Florida. We have a Republican governor and a mostly Republican legislature. So when he says, hey, I want this done, they tend to get it done for him. I know he's going to have a tough time with the property tax issue, but he seems to be hell-bent on doing away with property taxes for homesteaded property owners here in Florida, and I can't wait. Maria Shriver, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Wasn't she part of the Kennedy clan? She looked like a Walking Dead anyway. I never understood what he saw in her, It's like, she's like a skeleton, man. I mean, she just didn't look good at all, I didn't think anyway. Look, the only way you're going to fix them places is to bankrupt them to the point where they have no choice but to do the government's will. The same with Minnesota. Yeah. Trump could pretend that retard Wallace is going to go along with him, but in the end, he's not going to. I mean, granted, Wallace is a big pussy. But in the end, he's not going to because he's already taken grief from his own constituents. They're pissed off at him because he's backing down and going along with Trump. And he's probably telling, I'm just faking it. Don't worry about it, You can't trust people like that. The best thing we could do for Minnesota is cut off their funding, shut off all the money going in, every dime of it, and sit back and wait. And when they beg, and beg hard, say, all right, here's the deal. Every Democrat's got to leave. We want Republicans, real Republicans to run your state, and we're going to be watching them. And that's the only way we're going to turn the money back on. Dinner calls. Okay, well, go ahead and enjoy your dinner, JD. And if you come back later, I'll probably still be here. If not, we'll see you next week. Thanks for popping in either way. So, it's like I said, nothing's going to change, I don't think. Are you taking off too, Gerald? All right, well, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. So, I'm probably going to, I don't know, probably run till 8 o'clock tonight and then call it a night. It's probably getting cold out there. I don't know what the temperature is because it doesn't show me on the, make it, well, wait, show me here. Nope. Inside here it's comfortable, but outside's probably freezing. So, Woohoo. How do we get off track with the trains? Hey, this stuff's okay, but it's not great. If any of you guys have ever used it, it's a Vallejo plastic putty. It was $7 for this tube, man. And I figured, well, it's a brand name, it might be good, but... And it could be just the temperatures, too, because it's been cold here. And it takes forever for this stuff to harden up. Where good putty should harden in like 15-20 minutes. This took overnight. But like I said, it could have been because of the outside temperatures. I don't know. If anybody else has used that and had good luck with it, let me know. Is Jim running trains? Nah, I was earlier. And for you guys who hadn't seen it, I got the chicken train. Looks like a bunch of heckling chickens, right? Need epoxy. Well, yeah, I probably could have used epoxy, but it would have been more. It would have been tougher to work with. Had to be sandable too, because you know, chicken. Good one. And I'm gonna build a second one too. I got another chicken car that Thomas Moore sent me that I converted over. You know, put new trucks and wheels. Katie Coupler's on it. It's a green one. I can't see it from here, but it says chicken on the side. So I've got this. I said I've got another one of the DF players. So I'll program it and I'll have 2 chicken cars. Hey, what the hell, right? So, other than that, what else am I doing? There was something else I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what the hell it was. Probably should have wrote it down. Typical, right? I got to make up decals for the tender. This one right here. Now the tender, let's see, where is that? This is the old train there. See how the tender, it's got 148 at the top, U.S. sugar, we raise cane. I'm going to duplicate that, put it on my tender. Now I've got to put 148 on the side of the cab. And that red dot in the front of the boiler cover, I'll probably have to print something, but it has a 148 in the front of that too. You can't see it too well. And I don't know how much I can do with that headlight. I might take a look around and see if I can find a better headlight than the one I have. Something that looks more like that one. We'll see. But, like I said, I'm not in a big hurry to get it finished. If it takes me a month or 2, that's fine. I know I won't be able to buy the decoder till possibly next month. Not sure yet, so. Now that I don't have taxes to deal with, I actually have kind of a surplus of money coming in. So I might as well take advantage of it while I can. And I am going to apply for a discount on next year's taxes anyway. I have to wait till March to do it. Because I tried to do it when I paid the taxes. Who do I talk to about getting the senior discount? And he said, well, you got to go down there. And so I went down and he said, well, we're not ready for that yet. Why not? Well, we won't be ready till March. All right, I'll be back in March. You know. So, because if they think they're getting away with, you know, charging me, overtaxing me, I got news for them. How's that? Really? Every time I screw around with this, I lose my... There we go. Bernard says, I broke my headset yesterday, Jim. It really sucks trying to listen to my phone in my pocket. Yeah, I imagine it does. I have a feeling our chickens at the farm are freezing to death. Guess I'll find out next month. Oh, you're not at home then? You left them unattended? It depends. Some of them can handle down to single digits, depending upon what breed of chicken you have. Our chickens are good to about 32, 31, somewhere around there. Gets colder than that, they'll die. But some chickens can handle much colder weather. It just depends what breed you have. Bernard says, but I did hear chicken. That's what I'm making for dinner tonight. Chicken enchilada. There you go. John says it sounds delicious, Bernard. I'm sure. I think I'll take the chili off. I think it'll take the chill off today, John. Yeah, I'll bet. When you go to the trade show, look for the parts guy. You might find a headlight. Yeah, I'm going to look around. Thanks for that advice, Rick. Because like I said, if there's anything up there I can use, I will. I wound up printing a bell because everything they had available I didn't like. And the really nice ones, the brass ones, at $20-$30 for the fucking thing. And they weren't even the right bell. So I'm going, nah, ain't going to work. So I found this one on Thingiverse, downloaded the file, resized it, printed it out, and it worked out pretty good. Like I said, I may go so far as even to put like a piece of thread from the handle to the cab like the real one has, just for the realism aspect of it. That'll be one of the last things they do to it. So we'll see how it goes. And some tequila. Man, I'll tell you, I drank tequila once, never again. Me and my first wife and our friends, I can't remember their names now, husband and wife, and we killed a bottle that night. A fifth, actually. I was fine till I got up. I said, I'm going to go lay down for a bit. So I went ahead for the bedroom and never made it to the bed. Out fucking cold, man, on the floor. Slept for about 6 hours. Woke up with a fucking hangover like you wouldn't believe. I said, never again. They don't call it tequila for nothing. That's for her. Have you heard that song, John? I think I'm going to have me a tall Pendleton, though. No, I haven't heard that one. Did you get up finding out you were married too? No, I was married before. It's a funny story because not that particular day, but a few days after that, I can't remember their fucking names. The same wife. They were tenants in my dad's house. They were living in the front. We were living in the back. And she was real pretty blonde, thin, big tits. The kind of woman you wanted to be with, Well, she was a true nymphomaniac. Kid you not. She had to have it about every 20, 30 minutes. Her husband, he couldn't take it anymore. I mean, he begged me. He said, you need to fuck my wife. I said, I'm not doing that. My wife would kill me, Well, dude, you need to do it because I can't do it anymore. What do you mean you can't do it? I said, every 20, 30 minutes she wants to fuck some more. I go, is she a nymphomaniac? Yeah, she really is. I'm thinking, well, damn, give her a fucking battery op out of her boyfriend or something, But I couldn't take up on it, although if I hadn't have been married, I would have jumped on that, But he started doing fucking heroin to try and stay awake and keep up with her, He went up, he got killed. He went back up north. He left her, went back up to Boston, and somebody put a bullet in his head. Bad drug deal, It's a shame, but I don't know whatever happened to her. But she was a true nymphomaniac. So you can't have too much of a good thing. Tequila will take the chill off. Yes, it will. They say it's the worst thing you can do is drink alcohol when you're cold. It's like a false sense of warmth. I don't know. Usually I would have a hot cup of tea or even a coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I've had coffee because it was so fucking cold out. And I would have drank hot piss if that was all was around. It was bad. So I've only had coffee twice in my life. Both times it was literally freezing outside. I said, and they said, "You want a coffee?" I said, "You know what? I'll take it." You know. So that is funny one though, Bernard. Did you wake up find out you were married? I was married prior to that, but that was weird. So I can't remember her fucking name to save my life. Can't remember his name either. That was so long. I was back in the. Let's see, I got married in '76. That'd have been like '79. We met them. They had a little white dog. They called the dog Reefer, and all that dog did was hump everything. It'd hump your leg. It'd hump a pillow. It didn't matter what it was. It could wrap itself around it. It was humping you. It was kind of weird. Ray says relaxation is just one mimosa away. There you go. No. I met a lot of unusual people in my life. Well, I always thought true nymphomaniacs were a myth anyway. I didn't, people that just love to fuck, but I mean, she had to have it. It was bad. She would like start going crazy a little bit if she wasn't getting laid. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. You don't marry a woman like that, because ultimately you're just not going to be able to keep up with her. So, hey Russ, what's going on, man? Good to see you. You're late, but you're here. That's all that matters. Of course, you missed all the fun stuff already, but well, sort of. I was mostly talking about my locomotive that I'm refurbishing, and the chicken car is almost done. I discovered that you can't really make your own keep alives with capacitors for anything more than lighting. Like the DF player must suck a lot of juice. Plus I had to use a buck converter. And I tried, putting two 4700 microfarad capacitors together. It drew the power as quick as you could. So I don't know what else to do with that, except buy an actual keep alive. So and I'm hoping that'll work. Because if it don't, I'm really screwed. What's your name, Monique? If so, she's working down here. Try something unique with it. No, her name wasn't Monique. Maybe it was Rachel. As a matter of fact, her name was Rachel. The second Rachel I ever knew. I was dating a Rachel. Wasn't her. But back before I got married, I was 15. Rachel was 21 years old. I had a kid. And she thought I was like the same age as her, and I wasn't going to tell her different. So we stayed together for a little over a year, and then we just kind of drifted apart. But her name was Rachel, too. She was fun to be with. Yes, that's the one with the 8-hour MP3 on there. I haven't actually let it run 8 hours, but at some point maybe I will. You never know. Russ has had to take my wife to the eye doctor. Not serious, I hope. Did she get something in her eye or something go wrong or what happened there? I try and avoid eye doctors whenever possible, but my insurance company's been up my ass. You need to get your eye examined. Why? Because you're diabetic. Yeah, so. Well, what if you get what the hell is it called? Neuropathy in your eyes. So, well, then I'll go see a doctor. Ain't much you can do about it otherwise. I mean, So why should I just, give money to somebody. Well, and that's what they're paying out too. I don't understand why they're so big on wanting me to go see doctors, because it's like, well, you getting kickbacks? Because why else would you want me to see a doctor at your expense? So I don't know. I said I'm one of them people. If it ain't broke, don't fuck with it. I still have good eyesight, and until that changes, I'm not going to the eye doctor. Because I know what they want to do. They want to do an MRI on my eye again. Actually, a CAT scan. The last time they did it, I couldn't see right for like a month. They actually damaged my eyes a little bit. We're not doing that shit no more. Diabetic retinopathy. She has to get. Oh no, is she shot in her eye? Yeah, I had a friend down in Naples. She gets her eyes poked too. And I'm thinking, man, that sucks. And I guess that's another reason why I don't want to go there either, because I'm waiting for that. Oh, you're gonna have to take the shot too. No, I'm not taking that shot. So hey, I mean, like I said, until I see a problem, I've been lucky. So I've got neuropathy real bad on my feet, but so far that's the only place I have it. Now I do take vitamin B12, actually B complex, which actually helps with the neuropathy. If I don't take it, my neuropathy gets real bad. So I make sure I take it every day. That's fucking weird though, man. This is my wife's friend, actually. Tell her, Vicky. She has diabetic retinopathy too. And I think she goes in it. It's every 4 weeks or every 6 weeks. I don't remember, but she'll get a shot in her eyes, and it's like, fuck that, man. I ain't doing that crap unless I absolutely have to. And I mean, I stick myself with needles every day, because I take insulin. But there's something about putting something like that in your eye that's just weird. I imagine it is, Russ. That's really sucks, And the worst part is there's a cure for diabetes. They won't tell it. They won't give it to us, but there is a cure. There was a cure back in the 1800s. And that guy, one of the doctors discovered insulin. After they discovered the insulin, the cure went away. So they have a cure. I just don't know what it is, and I can't find out. I wish they'd bring it out there and cure us of all this shit. But, they're making probably hundreds of billions of dollars off of diabetes. They ain't going to cure it. There's no incentive for them to cure it. And it's bullshit. And the thing is, a lot of people have diabetes. I mean, I got mine after I had the stroke. I think the stroke brought it on. My mother had it, but she didn't get it until she was in her late 50s. Chances are I probably would have got it too, but you never know. But I think the stroke brought it on, and because I was fine until I got that. That's right, big pharma cash cow. It ain't fucking right. I tell you, if somebody went and killed every one of them motherfuckers, it wouldn't bother me any at all. Because they're busy killing everybody with their fucking deadly drugs and shit. They don't care. Oh, they get their, 9 pieces of silver, or however that goes, but it's bullshit. So I don't know, but they are starting to cure a lot of diseases. So maybe at some point diabetes might be on that list. It would be nice because, be nice not to have to check my fucking blood sugar 4 times a day and watch what the hell I eat, which makes no difference anyway. I was at my kidney doctor's the other day, last week actually, for my 3-month checkup, because that's what they worry about, could fuck up your kidneys. He said, well, your kidney function actually improved a little bit. Well, that's good. Do you think you can get your A1C down to 7? It's at like 9.8 now. I said, well, shit, I got it down to 9.8 from 11. What the hell do you want, you know? At fuck 7, you're almost not diabetic anymore. I think 6 is perfect. I said, I don't know what else I can do, you know. You got to eat something. So I don't know what the hell. Rick says, took my wife to eye surgeon today also. She has to have cataracts done in both eyes, and she is in the top 1% for nearsight. Well, I had mine done 6 years ago. And I can see great far. I need the readers to see up close. I don't have to wear glasses otherwise. I mean, you know, I can almost see perfectly, even the screen here, but I can see for far away. I never could. I was nearsighted, you know, but my wife's just got her one eye done 2 weeks ago, cataract surgery, and next month she's getting the second eye done. So once she gets both eyes done, then she don't have to screw with it anymore. But she had her one she just had done was they call it a mature cataract, which basically meant she was nearly blind in that eye, you know. And so I said, you need to quit fucking around and go to the damn doctor and get this shit done, you know. It's going to cost money. Well, yeah, it costs money. I put out almost $2,200, I think, out of pocket. You know, insurance paid the rest, but I still had to pay a lot out of pocket, you know, to get it done. And she's going to be close to it. She's $650 just for the lens, for one. And then $650 for the second one. And then they hit her up with a deductible because it's first of the year. That was $300. And I bought the first set of drops for $45. She needs another set of drops, another $45. I'll buy those for her because I can afford it. That's fucking bullshit, man, the money they make off of this crap. And it's like a 20-minute fucking surgery, you know? And they get ridiculous money for it. John says, I can't stand needles or anyone mess with my eyes. See, my eyes are fun. They're funny. I mean, I remember I got contacts, you know, because I got tired of wearing glasses many years ago. I was painting contractors. I'm painting the ceiling, right? And I'm watching the drops hit me in the eye. Didn't hurt me because, you know, the lens caught it, but it was latex paint anyway. But it was the weirdest thing. It didn't bother me, you know. I could actually touch my eyeballs because you had to put the contacts in and out anyway. So I was okay with that. Needles in my eyes, not kind of where I draw the line, though, you know. And I can do needles anywhere else because needles in my stomach, in my legs, and my arms, doesn't matter for the diabetes, you know, the insulin. That doesn't bother me, but yeah, I'm kind of sensitive about my eyes to some degree. Russ says, my A1C was 11 5 years ago. It is now 7.4 with meds. That's not bad. You know, he said mine was 9.4 last month. And then I just, you know, because I got blood work, jumped up to 9.8. But here's the thing with that. And I probably shouldn't be saying it, in case my doctor hears it. If you crash a couple of times, and you know what I'm talking about, crashing, you'll lower your A1C. The trick is to crash 2 or 3 times about a week before you get your A1C tested. It throws the numbers off. And I think that's how I got a 9.4 to begin with. So, I mean, I don't like crashing because it's kind of rough on me, especially as I get older. But it does happen on occasion. Usually in the middle of fucking night, you know. Wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're fucking cooking. You're in a cold sweat. You can't see straight. It's like, oh shit, I gotta get some food. So, man, hobble to the kitchen, make a peanut butter sandwich, and get a soda. Slam the soda, eat the sandwich, and within 5 minutes it's back up to, you know, somewhat normal. And I've done it enough times where, like I said, I don't enjoy it, but it does throw the A1C off. So that test isn't all that accurate anyway. Like I said, I'm taking insulin, and I like the insulin because I don't like the metformin. A lot of people had amputations because they were on metformin. They say that it does actually cause amputations. So we're not going there. So, of course, the other thing is they'll give you the shits, too, and I don't enjoy that either. Now, they do have other stuff, I guess, by now, but they started me on metformin, and there's another drug they gave me. It was actually something that modified your DNA, and I said, nah, I ain't taking that shit. You know, y'all don't know what the fuck you're doing. Fucking around with your DNA, that's a mistake, so I wouldn't take them. But I did take the metformin for a while, and it didn't really work that well for me, so I went back in a few months later and said, you know what? Can you put me on insulin? He said, well, you have to inject yourself. I said, yeah, I'm okay with that. Well, men generally can't do that. I said, well, I don't know who told you that. I can do it. I've injected other people with heroin, B12 shots, you know. I know how to do it. It's not an issue. So just, you know, prescribe me the insulin. So they did, and I've been doing better. Yes, metformin also eats your leg muscles. That's what I said. It causes amputations if you've been on it long enough. So I ain't fucking with that shit, man, you know. I mean, insulin's bad enough, but it's more natural than metformin is. I'm at the point, JD, where I don't trust doctors with hardly anything, you know. They tell you to do something, I'll do the opposite. Russ says, I was crapping my pants all the time with metformin. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It gives you the shits. Some people can take it and they're okay with it, but most people, I've heard a lot of stuff, man, that, you know, I said, I had a bunch of it. I kept it as a backup just in case I couldn't get insulin because I figured it's better than nothing. I probably had 5 or 6 years worth. And I finally wound up throwing it away because, you know what, I don't need this shit. Yes, metformin will give you the shits. I remember in college they were always looking for guinea pigs for money. Yeah, that's true. They still are. Me, I'm kind of leery of all that shit. You know, they'll pay you for that shit, some of it, you know. We had one where we tested a shampoo, and I wouldn't touch it, you know. The wife said, well, I'll do it if you pay me. It's all right, well, they're going to give me, you know, $75 for like a 3-week testing phase. I said, but you have to use it, you know. I'll do it. You know, I gave her the $75, and you know, she didn't have any issues with it. But it's like, yeah, I'm leery about, you know. Now we did another one with Dawn dish soap. Well, it wasn't Dawn, but I think it was. You know, they didn't have a label on it, but I think it was it acts the same, smells the same and everything as a Dawn industrial strength. And we used that for a month, and we got paid $80 for that. You know, that I don't mind doing. You know, of course, I don't wash dishes, but I told the wife, you know, wear gloves when you're using this shit. You don't know what it is, you know. But I like the money, but I don't like risking my life either. And you always have to sign an NDA and, you know, a waiver in case you get hurt or die, you know. Fuck you. You ain't paying enough money to risk my life for, you know. Derek says, get one of those things that you put on your arm and read with your phone. You get regular readings and trends, and you learn your... Yeah, I've seen them, but I don't really like them. I had the opportunity to get one, but... And I was still had to pay for, you know, the copay on it was kind of high. I don't, like I said, I've got it down to where... My problem, I can't keep it steady. You know, like I can't keep a steady number, but you know, I'm in a range, which is okay. And like I said, I've learned how to figure out when I'm too high or too low or whatever. And my average is like 200, 210 blood sugar, which is not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. I mean, they want you to be like 110. Some idiots even want you to go down to 90. At 90, I'm crashing. So I don't get down that low. I'm good. That's the lowest I've ever had. It was like 120, 125. And I still feel okay. Now back in the old days, the normal reading was 140. But they did the same thing with blood pressure too. You know, It kept lowering it, lowering it, lowering it, so that everybody's going to have high blood pressure because, you know, it used to be like, I think at one time it was like 130 over 80 was normal. Now it's like 120 over 70, you know. So if you're over that, you have high blood pressure, they can throw more meds at you. As I said, I don't trust doctors. Problem was they were unpredictable. Crap my pants while driving a couple of times. That's where I drew the line. Yeah, that would do it. You know. That's I got lucky. I mean, I had the runs, but I never had an accident. But I mean, I always had to be close to a toilet just in case, you know. Well, paired with the stroke, I couldn't move fast. There was no running to the bathroom, you know. So I had to hobble to the bathroom and hope, you know. So I mean, that's like I said. It's just I saw too many problems with it, and I started reading, you know, where people are getting their legs amputated and shit. And I'm going, no, we're not going there, you know. So that's why I said my old diabetic doctor, he's in prison now for domestic terrorism, which I think he was set up, but that's another story. He used to yell at me all the time, every 3 days, you know, your diabetes isn't getting better. Well, it's not supposed to, is it? Well, you know, shut the fuck up, man. We're just gonna deal with it and deal with it, you know. I said, we can fix this. He says, well, how's that? He said, give me the fucking cure. There ain't no cure. I said, well, if you believe that, you're either stupid or in on it. Which is it? He wouldn't answer me. So I'm guessing he was in on it. His 120 over 80 blood pressure has been the standard for many years. Yeah, it is now. But there was a time it was higher. Like I said, they'll run things. You know, whatever makes them money, they'll tell you. Russ says, I have the Freestyle Libre. That's the one that you put on your arm, right? Sensors are very pricey. Yeah, they are. All out-of-pocket expense for me if I choose to use it. I was looking at that, but I couldn't afford it for one, and, you know. Now, they have the one that dispenses one. I can't remember which one that is, but you wear it on your belly, and it dispenses insulin, and that actually killed a few people because it didn't read correctly, and it over insulined them, and they fucking crashed and died. Nah, I don't trust machines. I don't need a machine to inject me, and I can do it myself. So, you know. And that's another thing, too. You know, why is this shit so expensive? I mean... And the thing is that, well, I don't know, they claim that they don't even have to prick you. That they have sensors that can read, like, off your finger. I haven't actually seen one that worked yet, but they claim that they do have them. And it's like the oxygen sensors that they have. You put it on there to read your blood oxygen levels. I have one. They claim they also have one that can do your blood sugar without hitting the blood. But I haven't seen one that actually works yet. But that would seem to be the way to go, you know, where you could maybe have a ring or something that's got the sensor in it, and it would report to your phone every whenever and give you an idea what's going on. That's what I'm saying. It's, you know, it's all a big money-making racket anyway, you know. We didn't have these problems back when the food was good, and they didn't have high fructose corn syrup in everything. Yeah, and they say a lot of that high fructose corn syrup causes diabetes. It probably does. And I was a big soda drinker for, you know, a good part of my life. So I'm sure that contributed to both my stroke and my diabetes. So, you know. Even this shit has high fructose corn syrup in it, you know. Oh, you can drink this, though, because it's better for you than Coke or Pepsi. I don't doubt them, but this really isn't that much better for you. But I really can't afford, the water with the bubbles in it. It's ridiculous, and I drink too much to go to that kind of a drink. I would drink it. It's good stuff, but like $12 for a 6-pack. It's like, no, I can't afford it. That's the same thing with food. They have foods that are better for you, low glycemic index, but it costs a fortune. They have bread that's actually good for diabetics. It's $9 a loaf. I'm paying $5 a loaf now for the rye bread, which I like. The only cheap bread you get is white bread. That's definitely bad for you. I don't eat white bread. But the good shit, $9 a loaf. That ain't happening. That's what I'm saying, It's crazy. I don't know if they're... I know that, Robert F. Kennedy, he's the head of the food thing now, so he's making changes. It's going to take a while. He flipped the food pyramid upside down. Now it's correct. And, of course, the top things are protein, meats, potatoes, beans, all the stuff that's high in protein. Which I've always known that anyway. JD says, I drink water most of the time. I have milk when I eat and the soda once a week. And I can't do milk. Yeah. That's pretty good, though, that you can do that. And some say that's one reason why I'm not losing weight is this. And it could well be. But I've got to have the bubbly, man. They make, what the hell was that called? It's water in a can, but it's carbonated. And it was cheap at first, but then they slowly started raising the price on it. And it didn't have high fructose corn syrup in it. And I liked drinking it for a while, but like I said, it got to the point where I couldn't afford it, Even this shit's gone up price. Winn-Dixie used to have this 3 for $13, 3 12-packs. Now they're 3 for $15. It'll probably be 3 for $20 before I know it, JD says, my problem is snacking. Yeah, I don't snack that much. I mean, I'll have something at night. Like I'll have a peanut butter sandwich, like around 10 o'clock. I go to bed at midnight or even 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm good. Yeah, seltzer, yeah. I've had seltzer before. Not as good as the flavored water, though. How was dinner, Grandpa? Yeah, right? What is your favorite snack, JD? There you go. Don't say cookies. I tell you, I bought some cookies for my dogs, dog treat. They look like Oreos, And I tried one, and fuck, I ate half the fucking box. They were actually pretty good. I mean, they wouldn't hurt you. But, I don't generally eat cookies, but like I said, I had that one. They were actually good, so I said, fuck the dog. I'll eat some of these. Yeah. Russ says, I drink all zero sugar soda. Doc says I can have one a day. That's not bad. Dinner was great. I had 3 sliders. Oh, that's right. Your son or grandson made sliders? Yeah, that was pretty cool. JD says, I'm a chocoholic. Well, chocolate's good for you, though. It really is. Because it's got flavonoids in there, which are supposed to be real good for you. It's supposed to keep your stress levels down. And what the hell's the other one that's a problem? Can't think of the word now, but they're supposed to be good for you. Russ says, Funyuns and Doritos. Well, I used to eat Funyuns when I was younger. I haven't had those in many, many, many years. I was eating Doritos for a while. I quit eating them. They're not good for you either. Cheez-Its are a favorite. I used to eat those too. Hey, what I really liked, believe it or not, was was actually a cereal. The Fuck, what the hell were they called? Ah, shit. Can't remember now, but not your basic cereals. Is the whole wheat or whatever. It's just, I can't remember what they're called. I used to eat them out of the box as a snack. Once again, not good for. I can't do it now because I don't have any teeth, but yes, flavonoids are good. Yeah, chocolate is full of flavonoids. I like something salty and spicy to crunch for watching TV at night. Yeah, well, you know, I get those the hot pretzels. I've been getting some German ones that are in Winn-Dixie, and those are good. I don't put a whole lot of salt on them, but they really do taste good. I'll make a couple of them and, you know, eat them, you know, through a TV show or whatever. Doritos are great. Yeah, that's what that's what Tom Kavitchak said. He quit eating them too. They really are bad for you. I love Doritos, but they don't love me. So, you know, it's not good when your food doesn't like you. Oh. But like I said, I wish that there was more foods that I could eat, but you know, like you said, I'm on kind of a restrictive diet, which doesn't bother me. As I try to have a steak every Sunday. Nothing really big, but you know, a small cut of steak, and mashed potatoes go good with that, so I do that. And the rest of the week is either hamburgers and chips or fries, or fish and fries, or fish and what the fuck are those things? I'm getting more and more forgetful all the time. Damn, I can't remember what they're called. But they're good either way, and I don't have much of a selection of food. Basically, eat pretty basic stuff all the time. So every now and then I'll have pasta or spaghetti and meatballs, but not as often as, you know, I used to. I love mac and cheese. Once again, not the best thing to eat, but it sure does taste good. And rice-a-roni. I love rice-a-roni. The absolute worst thing I can eat, but I still gotta have it every now and then. Just found these pretzels of Hanover sour cream. They're jam with flavor, strong and good. No, I've never heard of those. I'll have to look out for them. I save all the Doritos for Tom. He ain't eating them no more, Bernard. He quit eating them, man. I think his doctor told me he had to. Russ says, I like the new Cheez-It, Snapped and Puffed. I haven't seen those either. Payday candy bar. Oh, fuck, man. There's no way I'd do candy. I mean, I'll eat a Three Musketeers once in a great while. I mean, like maybe once a year. Or a Milky Way once a year. Those are the only two candy bars I'll ever eat. And it's very rare that I eat them. However, I do like Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And every now and then, I would have bought some, but the fucking things are like $8 a bag now for the minis. And I was paying like $5 something for a bag, and they went up to $8. And I said, no, I'm not buying them. Which sucks because just keep them in my fridge here, you know. A couple times a day I'd have one or two, and it really took care of my hunger, you know, but can't afford them anymore. So that's what happens. All the good shit gets priced out of your range, you know. It ain't right. Derek says, JD, you and I similar taste. Yeah, well, you know. I mean, hey, whatever gets you going, you know, it's not a big deal. If you don't do things in excess, you're probably fine. Unless, of course, you're diabetic, then you have to be more careful. But if you're in decent medical condition or physical condition, you can eat pretty much anything you want as long as you don't go crazy with it, you know. And that's the whole trick. Problem is, a lot of people, you know, they see something, like my wife, she sees something, she likes it, she won't stop eating until she's dead. You know. Well, probably not quite that bad, but, you know, she's very addictive to some things. It's like, you can't do that. You gotta set a limit to what you're going to eat and then stop, you know. And just, well, I can't do that. Well, you're going to have to, you know. That's another reason why I don't buy a lot of shit either, because she eats it anyway. If I buy chips or anything like that, you know, I can make, like I said, I didn't make a bag of Doritos last for a month. Until she found them, then they were gone, you know, 2 days. I was like, what happened to my Doritos? Ooh. Yeah, you do. You ate the damn things, didn't you? Well, I had a few. Half the bag doesn't count as a few. But, you know. And that's why I said there are a lot of things I can't keep in the house because she'll eat it, you know. And like, there's a lot of things. I like ho-hos, you know. And sometimes I'll buy a box, keep them out here. She finds I got them, she'll be here twice a day, grabbing a pack of them. And I didn't buy these for you, I bought them for me, you know. If you wanted them, why didn't you buy them yourself, you know? No, I can't afford those. I said, well, I can't afford to feed you either, you know. That's another problem with all this food, too. It's getting more and more expensive. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, back when I was working, I pretty much had steak every night, you know. Like, one, I could afford it, and one, it was cheaper. And I was in better health for it, too, I believe. Now, like I said, I'm lucky I can do it once a week, and that's really pushing it, and I have to look for a good, you know, good meat that's on sale, because I can't afford it. I was in Winn-Dixie the other day, a couple weeks ago. They had a New York strip, about yay big, about that fucking thick, $30 fucking, and I'm going, well, I can't afford that. You know, that's just crap. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, $30 for that. If it had been $15, I probably would have bought it, but $30, not happening. So I usually buy skirt steaks and, you know, brisket and that sort of thing. It's a little generally cheaper. And you get more of it, but it's not quite as good. You know, I would love to have a New York strip or something that's about yay big, about that fucking thick. It'd probably be about $40-50 for that. So, that ain't happening. Doc wants me at 100 grams of carbs or less a day, wants me to eat 60-70% of my carbs before 1 or 2 p.m. Well, that makes sense, actually. They've got me on a mostly protein diet. Well, my primary doctor wants me to eat more protein, but my kidney doctor says too much protein is bad for you. Personally, I think he's full of shit. You know, once again, I think he's really, you know, hoping I'll need a transplant for my kidneys, and says, that ain't fucking happening. I'll die first, you know. Because when I first went in, he said, you may need a kidney transplant. Ain't happening. Why not? It's because I don't believe in it. I'd just soon die first, you know. He says, I know people that got transplants, they didn't do that well. Yeah, it bought them a few more years of life, but, you know. I mean, that's fine if you choose to do that, but I choose not to, you know. So, once he figured out that that wasn't going to happen, he changed his tune a little bit, you know. But he said, oh no, too much protein's bad for your kidneys. And I'm going, bullshit, you know. I mean, you need some carbs, without a doubt. And I do get my carbs. But since I've increased my proteins, my A1C's gone down. I feel better. My weight's stabilized. At least I'm not still ballooning up. I'm still holding about, 218, 220. I wish I could lose another 50 pounds, but, not likely. Bernard says, I have two major addictions besides trains. The other is jerky. I pretty much live on it. And once again, though, that's protein, Except if there's a lot of salt in it, that's not good for you, supposedly. And I question that, I don't salt anything because most foods already have salt in them. Now, years ago when I was younger, I used to salt the shit out of everything, And it didn't seem to affect me health-wise, but now, You eat salt, you'll have another heart attack. And I'm thinking, all right, well, already had two. I don't want another one. But I don't know if that's really true or not, you know. Because I've argued with guys, you know, hey, cut out all the salt. Well, you need fucking salt. No, you don't. Yes, you do. Without salt, you'll die. You know. Because when I was a teenager working in the junkyard, you know, during the heat of the day down in Naples, you'd sweat all the nutrients out of you, you know. You would start dehydrating. First thing you did, you went to the medicine box, medicine cabinet in the place, and you ate a salt pill. Hell, I used to eat 4 or 5 salt tablets a day. You know, and the doctors at that time, yeah, take them because you need them. You know, you got to replace that sodium you're losing. Now you're saying you don't need salt. Well, somebody's lying. You know, and I think it's you. Like I said, I don't trust doctors. You know, because they want to make money, and if you're well, they don't make any money. So, you know. But I honestly don't know what the deal is with salt. My dad was on a salt-restricted diet, too, because of heart disease. But, you know, his food was so bland, I don't know how he ate it, you know. I mean, I gotta have some spices and shit, so it's like, oh, wow. I always look at clearance and meat section. Steak has to be at least a pound and $10 or less. I agree. If you can find it. I mean, it's out there, but it's hard to find. Our bodies are 86% salt water. That's true. That's what I'm saying, you know. This bullshit, oh, you don't need salt. Yes, you fucking do. You know. That's like saying you don't need potassium either. Don't take potassium for on get, you know, like I take a water pill because I got congestive heart failure. So every other day I have to take, you know, a fucking water pill. And if I don't take potassium every now and then, I can't get out of bed in the morning, man. My body's stiff as a rock. Get showy horses, all kinds of shit. But if I take the potassium, I'm fine. Because, you know, the diuretic washes out your potassium. The only thing, at least the doctors admit to that, you know, because I complained about it first, and they said, well, here's a script for potassium. Take 1 pill a day while you're, you know, when you're taking your water pill. I said, no problem, you know. So now I know I have to do it because otherwise I'm screwed. But, you know, but then again, too, you know, I asked the doctor one time, I says, well, you guys want me to take 1 a day even when I'm not taking the pill? Well, yeah, it won't hurt you. I said, well, how much can you take before it does hurt you? Well, you can eat the whole bottle, it won't hurt you. I says, well, potassium chloride, which is what it is one of the components in the fucking lethal mix for the death penalty. Well, yeah, but you won't eat that much. I'm going, well, what do you mean you won't eat that much? You know, they're 500 MEQ each. I don't know what the fuck that is in milligrams, you know, because what's an MEQ? And you're telling me you can't overdose on this? Bullshit. I asked another doctor, he couldn't tell me. I said, I don't know what the fuck the deal is with these things. You know, he said, look, don't take more than 1 a day because you overdose on it, you know. That's the way I see it anyway. I said, I don't trust doctors, man, for that reason. And if 2 doctors you can talk to and you have the same condition, and this one has one opinion, this one has another, one of them's full of shit. Maybe both of them are. You know? That's what I'm saying. Y'all can't even agree on what's wrong with me. Well, we got a problem here, you know. But that's just me, I guess, you know. I learned a long time ago, doctors will get you killed if you're not careful. Because, you know, as I said, I yelled at one doctor, he was giving me a blood pressure pill. That was very dangerous for me to take, and I found out about it, and I said, you know, what the fuck were you thinking? Well, you ain't dead, are you? I said, well, if I was, I wouldn't be talking to you. But you'd be joining me. What do you mean? I says, if I die because of something you did, I've made arrangements to make sure you join me in death. I didn't, but he didn't know that. It kind of freaked him out a little bit, you know. I said, look, I said, you know what? Here's the deal. You give me a pill, I die, but you go home to your wife and have dinner that night. That ain't gonna fucking fly with me. If I die, you're coming with me, you know. So keep that in mind the next time you want to prescribe something dangerous to me. he kind of figured it out, you know. And we would talk about it, and he wanted to prescribe. Well, here's the side effects. All right, well, I can live with that. We'll take it, you know. But if not, not taking it, doc. Not happening, you know. They want you to have low cholesterol, but our brains are made of. That's true. And I'll tell you what, if you take a cholesterol pill, you'll wind up with fucking dementia or Alzheimer's. Seen it happen too many times. I won't touch the things. They want me to put. My cholesterol was never high to begin with. Now it's actually perfect. It's right in the range. They don't know why, you know. Because I eat a lot of meat, you know, protein. No, that can't be. Well, it is because there's no other thing that can be causing it, you know. But they wanted to give me that. I can't remember the real common one. I ain't taking it. Why not? It's because I'm not. And that's the end of the argument right there. Bernard says, I got 2 friends that are on protein diets, meat, fish, and birds. Tried to talk the wife from the pure protein kind of salty sometimes, but that was a firm no. Geez, guess it's back to the neighbors then. There you go. Phone's dead later. All right, John, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Charge that phone up. Jim, did you download those MP3 files? If so, can you send me the link? I can send you the files, actually. I don't have the links anymore, but I've got the files. I'll send them to you. Oh, darn. Well, had a great night. Well, that's cool. Oh, well, what are you going to do? I should probably wrap this up anyway. It's already 8:30. And I've talked about all the train stuff I know to talk about, so. And we talked about everything else. Hey, I did what I could, right? I'll probably do a short tomorrow when the Keep Alive comes in and let y'all know how it worked. Bernard says hands are fucking froze, warming up inside. You're outside this whole time? Are you a lunatic or what? Damn it, go in the house where it's warm. I can't take cold like that anymore. I mean, not really. You know, there was a time, not anymore. No. All right, guys. Look, I'm gonna wrap this up. It's 8:30 on the dot. So we'll catch y'all next week, and hopefully things will work well again, internet-wise. Done pretty good here. We only had 0.4% of drop frames. Been in the green the whole time. So, pretty good, huh? I think they took me serious about my threat to go to Starlink. All right, and Tom, I'll download tomorrow. I'll send you the files. And the rest of y'all have a good night. Be safe. Have a good weekend, and don't freeze your ass off. And we'll see you next week. Work till the sun went down because I'm blind at night now. Well, that could be a good thing, I guess, so you don't work into the fucking wee hours in the morning. You know, I've done enough of that shit myself. Yeah, you're probably like me, just don't know when to fucking quit. Thanks, Jim. Another fun Thursday night. Good night. All right, good night to you too, Chuck. I got to run the outro now, so I'll see you next week. Have a good one.